Greetings, my friends, and welcome to this week's Beating Heart Moment. I'm Fred Johnson. Happy to be with you again this week. And my prompt for this week is stillness. In such a chaotic world with so much going on, so often I find myself, especially in this past week, kind of engaged in conversations around just want to find a still moment, a quiet moment. And some folks are, having conversations about wanting to delve into meditation, which is phenomenal. Um, some folks are talking about just trying to get away and get away from the the noise, if you will, of all of the machinery and technology that we have. But there's a consistent conversation, and I know personally myself a consistent and a constant desire to really feel a sense of stillness. And so what are the threads in that tapestry of um, feeling, right? Experiencing sort of the full depth of stillness. Well, one of the first and most important components is something that we talk about every time we come together, and that is the breath. And I have found that for me to really create a space where I feel a sense of stillness, not just so there's that thread of feeling a sense of stillness. Does that mean the body without movement? And I think you all have been with me long enough now to know that I tend to be a moving kind of a guy. I've told my story many, many times just about it, even in my early developmental years, that sound and motion was a really important part of it. But that feeling a sense of stillness, almost as if you're in a safe space of stillness. And that safe space of stillness can be wherever you are, because the first thread in the texture of stillness comes from within. And so we've talked a lot about breath. What I want to encourage us to do this week is to feel the breath as we breathe in, as we breathe out, really focusing on the breath. And you can do this, you don't have to do this with your eyes closed. You can do this with your eyes open. In fact, I've found like it, in the last few days, it kind of in preparation for having this conversation with you, this whole sense of feeling the texture of the breath and allowing yourself to focus on that texture of the breath and feel how the space around you shifts. It shifts into a stillness. It shifts into a a, a sense of safety, stillness, safety, quiet, but a real presence of being still. And allowing your mind to still the mind, if ever, if just for a brief moment. And so I'd like for you to just try this with me, okay? I want you to join me as I just listen to my breath. Audibly, maybe at first, I'm breathing audibly. I'm breathing, so that my breath can be heard, the beautiful inhalation, the beautiful and centering exhalation, and then stilling the breath sound down to just a felt sense, just to a feeling, and really allowing yourself to be present in the moment, to allow the west wall of the golden triangle, allowing the west wall, that connection to thought, to just to be in a focused place of stillness, quiet, peace. And then the sounding is just simply the breath. And again, moving the breath maybe to a place of inaudibility, but being conscious of not stopping breathing, right? I want you to stop breathing. I want you to utilize this week the song of the breath. to bring yourselves moments of stillness, peace, centeredness, quiet. Let's just try it for a moment. Can you feel that texture of stillness? Even if there are sounds going on around you. I know that on the other side of my door, there's a conversation going on. But by really focusing, really settling myself into first hearing the texture of the breath, allowing that to really center me, allowing that to bring me to a real sense of being present, and then stilling, still taking in the full velocity of the breath, breathing in and breathing out, but into a quiet, textured stillness. Again, allowing the frequency and vibration of my thinking, right, to help shape and imagine for me being in stillness, feeling the texture of stillness, not just a hearing thing, but a felt sense of being present, being still, feeling the warmth and the safety of that stillness regardless of what is happening around me, what exterior sounds there may be, to give ourselves this week the opportunity to breathe into and to feel the texture of stillness through the breath, allowing the breath to be the vehicle. And you might even allow yourself to drop into the texture, the beautiful texture of the stillness so much until you can feel gently your heart beating, but not as a sound, as a texture, as a presence of being, as a presence of safety, allowing ourselves to breathe into, to be embraced by a sense of stillness, the warm texture, the embracing texture of stillness. We can have that in any moment that we desire, even if we're in a place of chaos, to really breathe into. And of course, the best thing to do when finding yourself surrounded by chaos is to get away. Something to be said for the wholeness of that. But to really begin to recognize that on this journey of wholeness, health, well being, safety from the inside out, that we can allow ourselves to be embraced by a sense of stillness, by literally allowing that to be our focus, recognizing the vehicle of the breath as a pathway to begin to feel it, to almost breathe inwardly, to allow ourselves to allow our inner eye to really focus on the sense of, the felt sense of stillness. So that's the invitation this week, is to begin hearing the breath, for however long that takes. Just really allow yourself to settle in and then go from that audible breath into the felt breath. And if it feels right to close your eyes, do that. But you can do it with your eyes open or with the eyes closed. Certainly, you can drop in another way with the eyes closed. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful to feel. So this week, to feel the texture of the stillness. Allow your breath to be a pathway that settles you in, and just allow it to be. And you'll know when to let it go, when to come out of it. It may just be, for a few breaths, but that texture of stillness, that's my prompt. This week, let's discover the texture of stillness. All right? I'm excited to get a sense of how this week will be for you. I'm excited. I'm doing it, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Because if I let myself go, I can just kind of get into one of those. I'm in because I'm doing so many things, involved in a lot of things. The mind is constantly working, and to give myself permission to say, ah, I breathe into the texture of stillness. I feel it give me from the inside out a sense of wellness, a sense of quiet, a texture of stillness. Have fun with this. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Be well. Remember, you are so much an integral part of wholeness, health, well being. We have it within us to amplify that. And we have the grace and tremendous opportunity to partner with, to be in alignment with all of our integrated partners, all of our science and medical partners, all of the threads in the amazing integrated tapestry of health, wholeness, and wellness, encapsulated in these beautiful moments that you will create for yourself this week as you experience the texture of stillness. Have a great week.